Most essential learning competency. Approximates the measures of quantities, particularly length, weight and mass, volume, time, angle, temperature, speed and velocity. When we say measurement, it is assigning a particular number or giving particular number, let's say in a characteristics or particular characteristics of a person, object, or concept. And it is expressed quantitatively. Pag sinabing quantitatively, it is expressed numerically or as numbers. Length. Length is the term used for identifying the size of an object by the distance from end to end, or commonly referred to as the longest dimension of an object. Or we can put it simply as a measure of how long an object is, or the distance between 2 points. Mass and weight. When we say mass, it is the amount of matter an object has, while weight is the gravitational force acting on an object. People often use the words mass and weight interchangeably. And it is because gravity is pretty much constant on Earth, so there is no difference between their values. But if you compare the weight on Earth to a different place like the moon, as you can see here, you can get different values. Your mass on the moon would remain the same, but your weight would be different because the acceleration due to gravity is different there. Volume. When we say volume, it is the amount of space an object occupies. In a container, it is considered to be the capacity of the container. For example, if a measuring cylinder can hold 100 milliliters of water up to the brim, its volume is said to be 100 milliliters. Time. Time is the ongoing and continuous sequence of events taking place in succession from past to the present and to the future. The concept of time is very basic and is integral in the discussion of other concepts such as speed and velocity. Currently, there are two types of notation in stating time. The 12-hour notation or standard time that makes use of AM and PM to distinguish between the time from 12 midnight to 12 noon and from 12 noon to 12 midnight. But this sometimes leads to ambiguity when the suffix of AM and PM are left out. That's why we have the 24-hour notation or the so-called military or astronomical time. Military time prevents ambiguity by using the 24-hour notation where the counting of the time continues all the way to 24. In this notation, let's say for example 1 o'clock p.m. is expressed as 13 o'clock and 5:30 p.m. is expressed as 17:30. Angle. Angle is derived from the Latin word angulus, which means corner. It is a figure formed when two rays share a common endpoint called the vertex. So in this particular example, the vertex is here. Ayan, yung kanto. In estimating measure of angle, we need to recall the different kinds of angles such as acute angle, whose measure is less than 90 degrees, right angle, whose measure is exactly 90 degrees, and obtuse angle, whose measure is more than 90 degrees. Temperature. Temperature is the measurement of the degree of hotness or coldness of an object or a substance. If it is hot, the temperature goes up, and if it is cold, the temperature goes down. Speed and velocity. Speed and velocity is the ratio between two related quantities in different units, or simply the ratio of the distance traveled to the time taken to cover that distance. Now, let us talk about the history of measurement. One of the earliest inventions of human beings was the unit of measurement. In ancient times, people needed measurement to determine how long or wide things are. They need to measure things to build their houses or make their clothes. Later, units of measurement were used in trade and commerce. In the 3rd century BC in Egypt, people used their body parts to determine the measurements of things. So kung makikita nyo dito, ito yung mga pyramids sa Egypt. So, magtataka tayo kung paano nila natayo yan. Wala pang measuring tools dati. So, ang ginamit nila ay yung mga body parts nila, panukat ng mga bato na ilalagay nila, or paano sukatin yung haba ng mga batong ilalagay nila para maitayo nila yung mga pyramids. One of the body parts used during the ancient times is the palm. Palm is the width of one's hand excluding the thumb. Next is the handspan, or in Tagalog, it is called dangkal. Handspan is the distance from the tip of the thumb to the tip of the little finger of one's hand. The last but not the least is the forearm length. Forearm length is the length of one's forearm. It is the distance from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger. And during the ancient times, it is called the cubit. Also, during ancient times, the handspan was considered a half cubit, while the palm was considered 1/6 of a cubit. The Egyptians came up with these units to be more accurate in measuring different lengths. However, using these units of measurement had a disadvantage. Not everyone had the same forearm length. That's why discrepancies arose when the people started comparing their measurements to one another, because measurements of the same thing differed, or depending on who was measuring it. And because of this, these units of measurements are called non-standard units of measurement. The non-standard units of measurement later on evolved into what is now the inch, foot, and yard. And those are the basic units of length in the English system of measurement. English system of measurement was widely used until the 1800s. So these are the examples of the conversions and units used under the English system of measurement. Next is the metric system of measurement. And it was used in 1900s and later on became the most used system of measurement worldwide. So these are the examples of conversions and units used under the metric system of measurement. By 1960s, majority of the countries except the United States of America use the so-called International System of Units or the SI units. And during that time, since Philippines used to be a colony of the United States, earlier Filipinos were taught in the use of the English system of measurement instead of the metric system of measurement. That's why they preferred English system rather than the metric system, although the Philippines have already adopted the metric system as its official system of measurement. The metric system of measurement is easier to use than the English system of measurement since its conversion factors would consistently be in the decimal system, unlike the English system of measurement where units of lengths have different conversion factors. In measurement using International System of Units or the SI units, there are so-called basic units to be used. For length, we have meter. For mass and weight, we have kilogram. For volume, we have cubic meter, but in practice, the cubic meter is not a convenient unit for everyday use, so the cubic decimeter or the liter is used instead. For angle, we have radian. But in approximating the measurement of angle, we need to recall the different kinds of angles such as acute, right, and obtuse angle. For temperature, we have the so-called Kelvin, although here in the Philippines, we use degree Celsius and in other countries, they use degree Fahrenheit. For time, we have second, and for speed and velocity, we have meter per second.